This is the plaintiff, Eric Ramos. He says he brought his car to the defendant's car wash, and in the middle of the wash, his car crashed into the car in front of it. The nasty defendant refuses to take responsibility for his dilapidated wash system, and he's here suing for the $1,188.11 in damages to his 2016 Lexus. This is the defendant, Kyle Bible. He says the car in front of the plaintiff applied their brakes during the wash, which caused the mishap. His business clearly states he's not responsible for the actions of others on the premises. Besides, he says all the guy has is a cracked license plate cover, and he needs to sue the car who was in front of him because it's his fault. He's accused of being all wet.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff claims that his car was damaged in a car wash because it ran into another car due to a mechanical problem, and the defendant won't pay up. But the defendant says the plaintiff stepped on his brakes in the car wash, and that's a big no-no. It's the case of wash and sue.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Aaron.
All right, Mr. Ramos, you are suing the car wash company represented here by the general manager, Kyle Bible, for $1,188.11 in damages to your car. What happened?
I took my car in on September 29th, 2021, and normal day bought a gift card there. I took my car in. I drove inside the system. Maybe a couple minutes in, like a minute or so into the car wash, I just heard some honking, at a distance. And all of a sudden I hear an impact, and then I hear a crack. So there was no brake lights in front of me. Nothing happened. And afterwards, I guess it was Trevor, which is the assistant general manager, walked inside there and started having some of the cars separate themselves. Apparently it was like a multi-car pileup. So from what they told me afterwards, several cars in front of me had applied their brakes or something had happened, and their conveyor system just pulled all these cars in together. So hypothetically, one car.
Okay, but hold on one second. So this is one of those car
sorry.
washes where you're supposed to put it on neutral and nobody's supposed to touch anything, and everybody
That's
just
correct.
goes timed through the car wash. And so somebody along the path did not have it in neutral and pressed on the brake and and then the cars. But how many cars piled up?
From my understanding, it was at least 3 or 4 cars from what they told me. I'm not sure exactly. I know the car in front of me did not apply the brakes.
Okay, now you have some dash cam footage.
That's correct.
And what does that footage purport to show?
It shows me entering the car wash, and then it actually you can listen and you can hear the honking. And then from there you can hear hear the impact.
Give me 1 second and let's play the video. I hear the horn. That's the impact?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay, how is that $1,000-something worth of damage? Let's look at the damage in the pictures. What does this picture purport to show me?
The thing is, on that image, you can see the bumper was actually pushed into the headlight, and then it scraped the headlight on both sides. So it's one side, the other side, and then also, too, there's like a stress bump on the bumper.
What year car is this?
2016?
Lexus?
That's correct, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do I see damage to the front other than on the license plate cover?
There's one area, I think I sent that, it's like a stress bump. It's not really that visible.
I do see this, which is just a crack in the rubber of your license plate. Oddly, I don't see any damage to the actual license plate. Okay, let me hear from you, Mr. Bible.
Okay, so there was an incident at the car wash where two cars in front of him applied the brakes, which conveyor keeps moving. So you hit the brakes, that car skips over the rollers, and the cars behind are still getting pushed forward. So there was a small impact. As soon as the guy who loads in the cars heard the horn, shuts down the car wash immediately. Afterwards, Trevor, assistant manager, he looked at the car. He saw, all he could see the damage was that crack on the backing behind the license plate.
Right, the rubber part, yeah.
rubber part. And at that point, he tried to explain we have a disclaimer before coming in saying any collision due to braking, steering, we're not responsible for. But we do try to help out customers in, situations like these. So Trevor called me the next day, told me it was very little damage, probably just the license plate frame. I said, if it is just that, see if we can help him out. Send him over to a body shop that we've used in the past.
And then what happens? He asks you for how much?
It was $1,400.
Okay, and then I know because I've seen the estimate from Lexus that it's $1,000. So where did you get the $1,400 request from, Mr. Ramos?
The place they referred me to that they've referred other people to, I explained to them that I had hit a car in front of me, and the estimate from the place that they suggested that I go to, they quoted $1,400 for that same repair. But the place that another place that I went to for the same repair, they quoted $1,006.11.
Right.
And then,
So did you call the place you referred him to, Mr. Bible, and ask them?
I did. I spoke to the shop manager. He wasn't aware that this accident even happened at the car wash. And he said the damages that were being pointed out by the plaintiff were on the side, and he doesn't believe that they happened at the car wash at all.
The thing that concerns me the more, though, about this is, Mr. Ramos, what did the car wash do wrong? It sounds like somebody in there didn't follow the rules that are very clearly marked in front of the car wash that say they're not responsible for when someone pumps the brakes. But I imagine that there's something else you didn't show me that says what all these car washes say, which is put it in neutral and don't touch anything, right? Isn't there some instruction to people beforehand? Do you have a picture of that?
I don't have a picture on me, but you could see in the Dashcam video, the gentleman that loads them on, he points to a sign that says hands off wheel, foot off brake.
Right.
Windows up.
There is such a sign, right, Mr. Ramos?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay. It sounds to me, Mr. Ramos, that through no fault of your own, your car got damaged. I agree with you. What I'd like to understand is, other than the deep pocket, why are you suing them? What did they do wrong? They have a disclaimer. They have instructions for everybody. And then some other dum-dum in front of you pumped the brakes. So why aren't you suing that person? Why are you suing the car wash? In other words, for them to owe you the money, they have to have done something wrong. What did they do wrong?
Welcome back to the People's Court. So who exactly is responsible for the damage to the plaintiff's car at the defendant's car wash? Let's go into the courtroom and find out.
Their conveyor system wasn't operating correctly. So as soon as one car impacted into the other car, the system or the conveyor system should have stopped. Instead, it caused a multi-car pileup.
I don't know what you're talking about. That happens in seconds, and the guy it's a manual shutoff when that happens, and they.
Thing is,
okay, I'm gonna short circuit this, Mr. Ramos. I agree with you. Through no fault of your own, you have car damage. How much might be, an area of debate in this case, but I don't even need to get to that because I don't know what you think they did wrong. That happens in seconds. As soon as there's a horn, there's a stop of the conveyor belt, and there's a couple of cars that end up running into each other. We're talking about something that's less than 10 seconds. So I guess you're saying, well, that's not fast enough. But we are talking about the slightest of impacts that sounded very, very light. And I realize that you can do a lot of damage with even a light impact. I understand that. There's nothing you can point to that they did wrong. Other than, I guess, not turn it off fast enough. I don't know. What's the distance between the cars, Mr. Bible?
6 to 9 feet.
And do you have any evidence that that's somehow beneath an industry standard, Mr. Ramos?
No, I don't, but I've read other reviews from other individuals that have said that the spacing is actually not very far. I don't know exactly what the standard is, to be honest. I just know that there are certain systems that are in place that prevent this kind of damage.
You should go to those places then, because most places don't have what you're talking about. All right. I don't find that the car wash is responsible for what happened. I think that their disclaimers cover them. And I think that you have a very good case against the first car who applied his brake despite being told not to apply his brake. Do you have the name and number of the driver and the information of the driver of the first car?
No, I don't. They haven't provided. The only thing I have is the license plate of the person.
I presume that you folks have the name and number of the first car that pumped the brakes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to make sure that you, just a second, Mr. Ramos. I find that they're not responsible, but I'm going to order you to give him the license plate of the first car and the video that allows you to conclude that that car was responsible. Is there any problem with that, Mr. Bible?
No.
Great. That's what we're going to do. Verdict for the defendant.
So the defendant prevails in this case. They do not have to pay the plaintiff for damages to his car. Mr. Ramos, what are you thinking right now? How do you feel about this?
Not great. I mean, the thing is, it's completely the fault of the car wash. The thing is, I don't think they even have the license plate of the car that actually pressed the brakes. They had told me before it was a car in front, which they didn't press the brakes. So I don't know how they're going to be able to provide me that information.
Well, unfortunately, you couldn't pin this on them, so I'm sorry for you, but you can't collect from them. But they can give you the license plate number of the guy in front of you, and, you know, good luck for whatever you can do with that, okay? Sorry, but that's the judge's decision. Mr. Bible, let me ask you a question. It's very interesting. You have a long list of at least 12 items that you claim not to be responsible for. What's interesting is that's inside the car wash after you're already in line about to go into the the wash bay itself. Isn't that a little late to see that sign? If I looked at that sign then, out front, I might back out and not use you. But by then it's too late. How about that?
No, it's actually before. In the photo, you can see the menu. It's actually before you even pay.
All right. Well, it protected you here in this case. You didn't have to pay $1,100, so congratulations. You're off the hook. Okay. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Love the show.
All right. Okay. That'll bring this car wash dispute to a close. Harvey, what are your thoughts?
Okay, Doug, two things. One, obviously the plaintiff could turn around and sue the driver of that car that caused the damage. That's kind of a no-brainer. But I want to mention one other thing. When you go to a car wash, you should routinely walk around your car inspecting it before you drive off the lot. Because if there's damage and you drive off the lot, good luck getting anything from the car wash. They're going to say you did it somewhere else. You should do it right on the spot and then call the manager over if there's damage.
Judge John, is there a pinball machine you've always wanted in your collection but don't have?
There's a bunch of pinball machines that I want, but I don't have. And I guess at the top of the list, I'm going to put probably The Hobbit, which is a great game. It's kind of expensive, and I think a lot of people don't want to part with them once they have them. But I'm going to bide my time till I find the right one in the right place where I don't have to drive 3,000 miles to pick it up.
Which you've done several times.
I don't like shipping these things. I don't want to trust them to shippers, so I usually just go and get them, as you know. And I'm going to say The Hobbit, and there's a couple others. Back to the Future I kind of want because I like the movies. RoboCop, kind of an interesting game. I haven't been able to find one. Never played it. Just looks kind of cool. But you, as a pinball widow, maybe you could tell us what your favorite pinball game is.
Do you not see the glazed look in my eye right now? Like, honestly, it's just something to keep you out of my hair.
Right. It's like when I'm listening or watching baseball or golf and I start just chattering away and you just go, uh-huh.
And then sometimes I just have to tell you, you do know I just don't care, right?
So what about you? You play pinball once in a while.
No, I don't.
You do. You have a favorite game?
I have a special place in my heart for Pirates of the Caribbean because it's the first one you bought. And I bought it with you. We traveled by car to Atlanta.
Right.
That's
right.
Which was the first step in a long line of insane moves on your part where you buy a pinball machine in
and the funny thing
Texas or wherever, and we have to drive there.
When I bought that game in Atlanta, as I was closing the deal with this person, your show came on in his kitchen. And I turned, I heard it coming on over my shoulder, and I looked up, and I just looked at him, and it was right. We were writing out a receipt, and I said, "You like that show?" And he goes, "I love that show. I never miss that show. I come home every day to make that show at 3 p.m. because it's the best show on television." I'm like, "Oh,
I'm
dude,
gonna blow your
I have
mind.
something to tell you.
You'll never believe
You're not gonna believe who I'm seeing." So that was pretty funny. That was a funny moment when I told him about you.